questions for y'all. The first one, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? Now, I know this sounds crazy, but if you're one of those people that have been trying to get information and you come across this, or even this, all right, take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Sister Lailanasheeba, the Managing Director and founder of Sunnahfollowers Online Islamic University. As you know, we have classes every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover everything from Aqidah, which is your belief system, to Seerah, which are the stories of the Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the story of the companions. Please join us every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are broadcasting and streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, DLive, Trovo, and Twitch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum. Join us for the new series here at Sunnahfollowers on the book called Termites by Sheikh Muhammad S. Adli, hosted and broken down by lailanasheeba. Please join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Sunnahfollowers. Another Sunnahfollowers exclusive, Not One of Us, written by Sheikh Muhammad S. Adli, broken down and brought to you by host lailanasheeba. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Sunnahfollowers.
Oh, okay, we're live. Okay, alhamdulillah. I'm sorry. All right. Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our Aqidah class. And as I remind everyone every day, this is, of all the classes that we teach here at Sunnahfollowers, this is the most important one, because this is the one that speaks about our belief system and how it should be. I really need to stress and emphasize with a lot of the new people who are following me and listening to me that it doesn't matter what good deeds we do. You can fast, you can pray, you can give in charity, you can donate millions of dollars. The bottom line, if your aqidah, if your belief system is not correct, Allah doesn't accept from you. And this is something that many of the new converts struggle with. This is one of the number one questions I get from the new converts. I'm on several different convert channels on Facebook, people wanting to, who are new to Islam. And one of the things that they struggle with is the reality that if you die upon any way other than Islam, it's not accepted. You know, they'll tell me, oh, Sister Layla, my mother is a good Christian. She goes to church every Sunday. She reads her Bible. You know, she dresses modestly. You know, she doesn't even eat pork. You know, you mean to tell me that my mother is going to be in hell? Well, it's not what I said, it's what Allah says. Allah says in the Quran that He will not accept any way other than the way of Islam. Anyone who dies upon anything other than that, it will never be accepted of them. You know, and that's why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that this world is the paradise for the unbelievers. What does that mean? That means for those unbelievers who lived a good life here in this world, this is their paradise. The fact that your mother went to church every Sunday, your mother took care of the orphans, your mother did a lot of good deeds. That's why Allah willed for her to live to be 100 years old. And that's why she had a good life. That's why when she was on her deathbed, she said, well, I had a good life. You know, this world is the paradise. It's the reward for those good kafirs. But for us, you know, it's a prison. You know, our reward is paradise. And we spend our lives struggling. And as I've been reminding everyone, Allah will test us according to our iman. You know, the stronger your faith, the greater your trials, the greater your tribulations are. But the thing that we keep in mind is that Allah never imposes a burden on us that's too great for us to bear. And that serves as a comfort for the believer. When you get bad news or you receive bad news, one of the ways to get through it after saying inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun is, oh, well, I can handle it. You have to tell yourself, I can handle it. Because if I couldn't handle this, Allah wouldn't have sent it to me. Because He says He will test us in accordance to our faith, our belief. And we talk about the hadith whereas a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, "O Prophet of Allah, who amongst us is tested the most?" And he said, the prophets of Allah are tested more than anyone because they're stronger in their iman and their belief than anyone. And then after them, those people of knowledge who are strong in their belief, and so forth and so forth. And that's why what I use to remind you guys with what's going on in the world today, don't get so caught up in that emotional stuff. Because those Palestinians, you know, they can handle it because that's where their faith is. They're strong in their iman. This is every day for them. They've been dealing with this every day. I was watching a program on television yesterday about the Exodus. Okay, y'all know I'm into the History Channel and all that stuff. The Exodus, you know, these people have been dealing with this stuff even before Moses. Even before Moses, alayhi salam. So this is part of their trial, and it shows their iman. You know, the question is, where is your iman? How do you fit in that equation? If Allah were to send that type of test to you, would you be able to handle it the way they are? Would you be able to bury your children without losing your mind like they're doing? Would you be able to remain calm and patient? You know, patience manifests itself at the first strike of a hardship. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the woman who was crying over the grave of her beloved one, you know, patience. And by the way, guys, let me explain something too for the new Muslims. Faith or belief, I'm trying to use good English words, for my new shahadas here, because they get lost in the Arabic. They get caught up and lost in the Arabic because they don't speak Arabic when they're struggling with their own language, English, really. There's different branches of faith, and this is an authentic hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there are many different branches of faith. Modesty is a branch of faith. Well, just as modesty is a branch of faith, so is patience. Patience is also a branch of faith. So when you hear some of us say, you can tell how strong a person's faith is based on how they handle themselves when faced with trials, because I say that a lot. This is what I'm referring to. There's different branches of faith, of iman. Modesty, honesty is also a branch of it. Okay. So, we have to look at ourselves, our reaction. We have to have patience. The believer, there are certain characteristics that Allah requires us as Muslims to have. Modesty, which is known as haya, modesty, truthfulness, patience, certainty. These are all components of faith. Do you guys understand? And that's the meaning of that hadith when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks about the different branches of faith and how haya or modesty is a branch. Well, just as modesty is a branch of faith, so is patience. So when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw that woman crying, he told her, be patient, because patience is a component, of faith. You can tell how strong a person's faith is based on how they handle themselves in hardships. This is something that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anha and other companions talked about, including Aisha. A person came to Aisha radiallahu anha and asked her to explain the character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said his character was that of the Quran. He was a walking, talking Quran. He had all those components of faith, such as modesty, such as honesty, such as trustfulness, such as patience. Do you all get where I'm going with this hadith? So that's what we mean when you will hear a person like me, or you might hear another daya say, wow, how are you guys handling yourselves? How are you handling yourselves in these times of difficulty? When you look at what's going on in the world, we're all being tested as an ummah right now. You can tell a person's faith by how they're reacting. Is that person showing patience in these stressful times? Is that person maintaining their dignity? Dignity is another component of faith. It's another branch of faith. Is that person still maintaining their truthfulness, their patience, their certainty? These are all components of faith. So when you hear a person make the comment, like myself, you can tell a person's faith based on what their reaction is when faced with a calamity. That's what I'm talking about. Do you guys get it? I can look at some of your Facebook pages and see, wow, where's this person's iman? Based on what you're posting pictures of. You know, we've been over the hadiths about pictures of dead people. We've been over the hadiths that talk about how the prophet said, don't show people at their worst. We went over the hadith of how the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam admonished Bilal. He admonished him harshly for dragging the women of Kabar through the battlefield to see their, and allowing them to see their deceased at their worst. But that hadith doesn't mean anything because many of you are still posting up pictures of dead babies and dead bodies. I don't know why you people are doing that. You know, you're totally disregarding one of the rules of warfare. This is one of the rules of warfare that the prophet had. Do not have he said, have compassion. Don't transgress the limits of Allah and cause your anger and hurt to cause you to allow your anger and hurt to cause you to transgress the limits of Allah. Do you guys understand? So faith, iman, it manifests itself. It manifests itself in one way or another when we are faced with trials, when we are faced with hardships, when we are faced with tribulations. As our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, faith consists of different branches. One of them is patience. One of them is modesty. Another is honesty, truthfulness. Another one is certainty. So the question is, are you Muslims today showing strong iman in the face of hardship? Y'all get it? Y'all get the hadith now? Did I break the meaning of that hadith down? Okay. Yeah, and I did a whole series. I have a whole series that I teach every year on the different branches of faith. And you can go to my YouTube channel, look at the playlist. I have a whole series. It took me 3 months, I think, to teach that series last time on the different branches of faith. Faith consists of different characteristics. The prophet said, I was sent here to teach you good character, good morality, good behavior. And in turn, I taught you Islam. Distinction is another one. To be distinct is another component of faith. Are you distinct in your appearance? Distinct in your behavior, your attitude? Okay? Different components of iman. We got to learn those components. We have to work on them. We have to work to try to better them within ourselves. Okay, so with that said, and I hope I explained that hadith to the sisters about that modesty. Haya is just one component. Patience is another. You know, all of that. You know, these are just different branches. But with that said, let's get to our topic today. For the past several days, we've been speaking about how as Muslims, we're supposed to balance our emotions, particularly love and hate, because these are two of the most powerful emotions that we experience as human beings. Oftentimes, those two emotions can cause us to transgress the limits of Allah and in turn transgress ourselves and others. Everybody got that? Everybody got that? So, whenever we're faced with the question as to how to do something, we turn to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his example and the example of his companions. We're faced with a great trial as a nation. Like I tell you guys, this is not a war against Palestine. This is a war against Islam. These people are not trying to do genocide to just Palestinians. These people are trying to do genocide to anyone who believes in Allah. Do y'all understand that? These are the people that will pave the way for the Antichrist. And that's a whole different topic. But don't get it twisted. Don't be diluted into believing that this is a genocide against just one group of people, because it's not. It's a genocide against the law. Y'all understand that? And against anyone who believes in him. So, of course, our emotions are all over the place, particularly our anger, particularly our hatred. We have to balance them out. And what is the emotion that falls between anger and hate that causes balance, that is love? Okay? I'm not saying love your enemy. Let's get that straight. We don't believe in that turn the other cheek. Jesus love me. Yes, I know. Called the Bible. We ain't into that. I ain't telling you to love your enemy and none of that crazy stuff. What I'm telling you to do is balance. Balance your hatred so that you don't end up transgressing. And how do we balance it? By learning to hate for the sake of Allah. And what does that mean? Hating for the sake of Allah means it's nothing personal. It's business. We're hating only the things that Allah hates. Allah hates the fact that people don't believe in him. So we hate that too. Allah hates adultery, fornication. We hate that too. Allah hates injustice. So we hate it. Allah hates the killing of children. We hate that too. Allah hates the killing of women. We hate that too. Allah hates the killing of civilians who are innocent and who are not involved. We hate that too. Allah hates the tearing down of churches, the tearing down of places of worship. We hate that too. Allah hates destroying the earth, blowing up trees and things like that unnecessarily. So we hate that too. Y'all see, that's balanced because it's nothing personal. I'm hating what Allah hates. And because I'm hating what Allah hates and loving what he loves, what does Allah love? He loves justice. So I love justice. He loves truthfulness. So I love it too. He loves cleanliness. I love that too. He loves righteousness. This is how we balance those emotions. This is what keeps us from going to the extreme right or the extreme left in our love, our hate, and our anger. Okay? And that's what we have to focus on as Muslims. Because when you turn on the television or you look on social media, a lot of the Muslims are transgressing the limits. And when we transgress the limits, we're no different than those Zionists. We're no different than they. And that's what Umar, radiallahu anhu, used to remind his army. Anytime he sent a contingent out, he would remind them, number one, keep Allah first and foremost on your mind. Number two, call upon him as often as you can for guidance. And when you call upon him, ask him to prevent you from transgressing the limits that he has set forth for us. Because that's the one thing that we have in our favor over the enemy is our belief in him and our love for him. When we transgress the limits, then we're no better and no different than the enemy. And that means we're on our own in our battles. We won't have a law behind us. And that's the thing that we have to remember with ourselves during these times. Balance. What's going on is bad. How do you balance that out? This is what one of the brothers emailed me. Sister Layla, I can't take it. I'm looking at it. You know, first of all, like I tell y'all, I've been telling y'all, cut off the television. Stop looking at people's Facebook pages. We got a lot of ignorant Muslims out there. And I don't know why I do know why they're doing it. Because unfortunately, I want y'all to remember the awliya, the allies. The allies of Allah and the allies of Shaitan. Either you are an ally of Allah or you are an ally of Shaitan. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us Shaitan has more allies than Allah does. So a lot of these Muslims, you know, I hate to tell you the truth, but it's the truth. A lot of them are allies of Shaitan. And so they're posting those depressing pictures of babies and women who are dead on purpose. They want to ignite anger. They want to ignite revenge. They're terrorists. Don't y'all know we got a lot of terrorists out there? It's the truth. So that's why I'm telling y'all, cut off your television. Close down your social media pages, you know, because a lot of these awliya of Shaitan are trying to get Muslims to react in an angry way so that we can do, because again, most crimes in the world are committed by the non-Muslims. But that's a fact. But we are so hated that let one Muslim do something and the rest of us got to pay the price. Okay? Just like what's happening because of what the terrorist group did. Yes, the terrorist group. The terrorist group started this. Instead of dealing with them, you're going to kill a bunch of innocent people. So these same terrorist groups and terrorist people want you to continue to transgress. So it can just be a war. Because they're uneducated about the religion. They're uneducated about life. You know, don't fall for the game. So close down your social media. Stop watching television. Stop watching that depressing garbage. And instead, you know, attach yourself. As the Prophet told the companions, attach yourself during these times to the righteous believers and the people of knowledge. He told the companions, be at the masjid, making prayers together. Be at the masjid, show our solidarity by being united. And by the way, that's another word. I was having a discussion with a couple of people before class. You know, YouTube and Facebook, I'm pretty sure many of you see that they're blocking a lot of our content, including mine. And these are bots that they use. And one of the words they're blocking is solidarity. So I had to go to all my video lectures and take out solidarity. That's another word that came up on the list. Okay, they'll probably block my video to this too. They'll probably block this too because I'm using the word solidarity. I'm a unionist. I used to use solidarity all the time. But now that because there's Islam involved, solidarity, and it's a bad word. Okay. But anyway, how do we show our solidarity? Because I'm going to sue somebody. Block me. Solidarity. Okay. You know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the companions, you know, pack the masjid up. Get to the masjid, stand together as one and pray shoulder to shoulder, ankle to ankle. Practice your religion, get your behavior, your character, those different branches of faith. Those different branches of faith, such as patience, certainty, truthfulness. Work on that to prove the unbelievers wrong, to prove them to be the liars that they are. Okay? So we have to work on that. Shut down that social media crap that's pushing you to the edge, and instead focus, attach yourself to the masjid. If you a brother, attach yourself to the people of knowledge and listen to them, learn from them, take their reminders. Okay? And balance. Make dua to Allah to balance your emotions. And I'm going to give you guys some examples today. Some more examples today from the companions and how they were trained and taught by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to balance their emotions. You're going to see a couple examples today. One companion who went too extreme, another who was too lenient, and Allah had to send down the verses saying balance. Let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And by the way, the book that we are studying from, I'm sorry, I usually have it up here. One of the new sisters is asking me, what is the book? Yes, it's called Diluting. I get new people every day, alhamdulillah. And by the way, guys, please continue to share my YouTube channel to all the Muslims you know. Because the only way that we're going to get through these trying times is, number one, by banding together, and number two, by seeking the proper knowledge of Islam, which is based on the understanding of those companions who were the best of this nation. And remember, they were at war nonstop. Okay, but this is the book that we're using. I'm going to put it up here. It's called Diluting Wala Wal Bara. Diluting Wala Wal Bara by Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. You guys know who he is. He's pretty popular and famous nowadays. Okay, this is his book, the second of his trilogy. Okay, and by the way, guys, please support us. Alhamdulillah, I know Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. He's a good brother. I love him so much. For the sake of Allah, he's my brother, because he's from Egypt like me too. We brother and sister. Okay, and we have the same understanding. But I am not affiliated with his masjid. I get that question a lot. A lot of people ask me, am I part of his community because of their donations? No, this is separate. Sunnahfollowers, I've been doing this since 1986. Okay, I'm a separate entity here. So your donations, and I'm also nonprofit. Okay, but we need your donations for this website, so to help pay for the classes and all of that. I love Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. I'm teaching all his books. Okay, because subhanAllah, they're the best Aqidah books I have seen written in English. Okay, and they need to be a part of every American Muslim's library. Okay. Plus, while we're talking about it, school. Let's not forget the children. We are the world. Hit it. We are the children. I'm sorry, guys. That's the 80s. I can't get them 80s out. The children. None of us here in America should have our children in a non-Muslim school. You see what's going on here, especially with the curriculum being rewritten to include Steve as Eve's brother. Allah created Adam and Eve and made Eve's brother named Steve. Oh no. Put your kids in Muslim school and keep them at home, because Allah says your home is better for you. Homeschool your children. by attending safausa.org. That is an international home school for Muslim kids that is also ran by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. So it doesn't matter what state you're in here in America or outside of America. It goes for Canada too. It doesn't matter if you're in Canada, Mexico, or wherever, even Europe. Homeschool your children with safausa.org. That's the website. And his prices are very, very reasonable. You know, and also the kids are not only getting a bona fide education, but also they're learning the correct belief system, which is important. They're learning about their deen correctly with the understanding of the companions too. So everybody needs to go to safausa.org who has children, and it's from preschool till 12th grade. Okay. Preschool to 12th grade. One of my brothers is enrolling his little kids into the program. So please, guys, support it. You know, safausa.org. This book, when you buy the book, Diluting Well, Better, that's where the money goes. That money for this book is going to help pay for the safausa.org school. So that's why I tell y'all buy it off of Amazon. All right, so that's the introduction for Kareem Abu Zaid. Let's put the PowerPoint up and talk about the examples from the companions on how to balance out our emotions. Now let's put it up here. Everyone should be able to see my screen. Okay. A great example that we have of one of the companions, and this is a female companion, who was able to balance out her hatred, especially in war times. This is when the Quraysh had declared war against the Muslims, driven them out to the point where they had to migrate away from Mecca to Medina, and they were at war. Asma, the daughter of Abu Bakr, she was Aisha, radiallahu anha's sister, but they had different mothers, same father, different mother. The story of Asma with her non-Muslim mother represents the angle of allegiance and distancing that we should have when it comes to our non-Muslim family members who happen to be amongst the people who are fighting against us. Now, Asma's mother, her name was Qutayla, and she was an unbeliever, a polytheist. She was opposed to Islam. In fact, Abu Bakr had divorced her. When Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, embraced Islam, he had a lot of wives. And he told them, you know, either convert to Islam or I'll divorce you. None of them converted except Aisha's mother. So he stayed married to Ruman. But the other wives, including Asma's mother, he divorced. And because this woman was opposed to Islam. But even though she was opposed to Islam, she loved her daughter. And she missed her daughter. And Asma tried to maintain a respectable relationship with her. We have an instance in which Qutayla came to Medina because she needed some financial assistance. So she went to Asma's house. She didn't go to Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr had divorced her, and Abu Bakr was a rich, wealthy man. But she went to Asma, her daughter, and let her know, I need some help. And this is when the Quraysh, you know, were fighting, you know, against the Muslims. Asma had just given birth to her son. She had no money, but she didn't want her mother to be turned away. So what she did was she took her waistband. She had a waistband that was worth some money. And she cut it off and she gave it to her mother, knowing that her mother could sell it. It was made out of leather. She could sell that leather and get enough money, to help herself. Well, Abu Bakr happened to see Asma walking and saw that her dress was torn. And he asked her, "Oh, daughter, what happened to your dress?" And she told what happened, and he was so happy for her. He praised her for being loyal to her mother while not compromising her faith. So again, this story illustrates to us the importance of balancing our hate. Yes, they hated, Asma hated the Quraysh. She hated the Quraysh for what they were doing to the Muslims. They had made them leave their homes to go to a strange country where the climate was not even right for them. They were sick when they first got there. And so, but her hatred, she didn't allow her hatred to cause her to hate her mother, who was not actively fighting against them. And that's a lesson for you youth today. I heard on the news that here in America somewhere, some Muslims went into a restaurant, a Jewish restaurant, and started arguing and fighting with the people in there. So the people had to call the popo. They called the police. They didn't know if these Muslims was going to drop a bomb or something. People crazy. So those Muslims end up getting arrested. Why did they go into that restaurant arguing with them people? First of all, those people are not actively engaged in fighting, okay? And you guys see the news, those practicing Jews, they're standing up for us. This is not a war from them. These are the Zionists. These are the people that were born Jewish but don't believe in Allah. These idiot Muslims went into a kosher practicing restaurant and started picking a fight with them. And they told them, "We don't support what's going on." They had even told them, "We don't support what's going on over there in Israel either. You got the wrong people." And they say that the owner of the shop was trying to explain to these crazy Muslims, we don't support that crap. They're not one of us. Don't mix us up with them. They're Zionists. We're practicing Jews. We need to take a lesson from Asma. Balance out that. Get control. First of all, get an education. And then secondly, balance that. You're so angry about what's going on in the world. You're not even over there. You're here. And you're going to walk into a kosher Jewish restaurant and just pick a fight. These people are lucky they didn't get killed, that they were just arrested. Subhanallah. I mean, come on, guys. That's a great lesson to be learned from her. We treat our family members good who are not fighting against us, and not just the family, but anyone else. Those people that are not actively engaged in fighting against us, we don't go around picking fights with them and hurting them or being oppressive towards them. That's not Islam. Okay? And that's why I like using that today, because that's on the news today. I think this is in New York. It happened somewhere in New York. New York needs to get control up there. Also, another example, another companion named Saud ibn Abi Waqqas. His mother, first of all, he was a companion of the Prophet and one of the first to convert to Islam. His mother, however, was one of those harsh unbelievers. She refused Islam. She hated Islam. She hated the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when she heard that her son had converted, she became so angry that she swore that she would not eat or drink anything until he denounced his religion. Saud was close to his mother. He loved his mother. But his love for Allah and the Prophet was stronger. They were so strong that he told his mother, I refuse to denounce my religion. And he told her if she had 100 souls and he only had one, he would still devote his life to Islam and not her. This was kind of harsh. It was so harsh that Allah sent down a verse from the Quran speaking about this. Allah sent down the verse where he says in the interpretation of the meaning, and we have enjoined upon man to be good and dutiful to his parents. But if they strive to make you join in worship with me, then obey them not. To me is your return, and I shall tell you what you used to do. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to reprimand Saud. He said, Saud, yeah, you didn't have to be that mean to your mother. You know, let her know that you would never give up your religion, but you don't have to, talk to her in a disrespectful way. Okay. So Saud went back to her and he apologized for being disrespectful to her, but he let her know, Mom, I love you, but I love Allah more. And I'll never give up my love for my religion for you or anyone else. He told her in a nice way. And after many days of starving herself, she finally accepted the fact that her son chose this way of life. And after a while, she began to eat again. And she went to her son and she asked him, she said, pray for me. Pray to your God that I accept what you have accepted. Pray to your God that I understand this new way of life too. And guess what, guys? Saud made dua. And even though she was a staunch enemy, she ended up converting. So we learn a lot from this. First of all, the fact that he went back to his mother and apologized for being so harsh. The fact that the Prophet Muhammad told him, we have to reverence the parents, even if our parents are enemies, we still have to be kind. That impacted her. It impacted her to the point where she got to thinking, well, maybe I am missing something. Maybe there is something good about this new religion. So she asked her son, pray to your God for me. Pray that I can see what you see. Pray that I understand whatever it is that you understand. It shows the power of dua. And that's another thing too. We're faced with these trying times. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the companions, never, ever, ever lose hope from your supplication. Our supplication is the best weapon we had. I told you how the Prophet would pray. He prayed that Allah would turn the heart of Abu Jahl or Umar. He prayed that Allah would turn the heart of his enemies. That's what we need to do. Instead of all this anger, all this emotionalism, all this transgressing the limits, start making dua. Ask Allah to change the heart of the President of the United States. Ask Allah to put some sympathy in the heart of these congressmen so that they can refuse to help in this. That's what the Prophet would do if he were here. He wouldn't be protesting. No, he'd be making a lot of dua. And he would be reminding us to show good behavior, to show display those other branches of faith, such as patience, such as justice, such as certainty. Because again, faith manifests itself. when the calamity begins. Okay? That's what he would tell us to do were he here. Okay? Also, another example of another companion is the story of Musab ibn Umair. This is one of my favorite companions. Musab ibn Umair. He was a companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who came from a rich family. He was rich. He lived a beautiful, extravagant lifestyle. He loved nice clothes. Remind me of myself. He liked nice shoes. He had a pair of shoes to match every outfit that he wore. But when he became Muslim, he chose to give up his lavish lifestyle and dedicate himself to teaching Islam. When he moved to Medina, his mother was so upset. Not only that, everybody was, because he wore the best clothes, the best shoes. He was upper class, high society, fashion. He died during the Battle of Bara. And when he died, guys, he didn't even have, they didn't even have a shroud to cover his feet with. He's the one who, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw his dead body lying in the sand, he cried. He said he used to wear the most beautiful shoes, and we can't even find a shroud to cover his feet with. Sacrifice. That's another component of faith, guys. So many different branches of faith. What sacrifices have we made for Allah? You're talking about free Palestine. It ain't about no free Palestine. It's called free yourself. What sacrifices have you made for Allah lately? Those people living in that part of the world, they make sacrifices all the time. Death is a part of life for them. They've been watching their relatives live and die since the time before Moses. This is every day with them. They sacrifice that. Like that woman told the news reporter, alhamdulillah. She said, you lost your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your husband, your children, your friends. Alhamdulillah. What sacrifices have you Muslims made that's standing by watching in the peanut gallery? Did you sacrifice your lavish lifestyle like Musab did? Are you willing to give it up? Are you willing to sacrifice your life, if need be, for what you believe in? Again, that's another component of faith. So again, we learn all these things, just by studying the companions. And that's why I tell you guys, the other daya out there, the other callers to the truth, this is what we should be doing. Calling the Muslims down from their emotions and reminding them that this ain't nothing that the Prophet and his companions haven't already experienced. Remind them that what's happening is because Allah willed it, not Israel, not America. This is happening because Allah said what to happen. And Allah said he sends war. He sends trials. He sends hardship and calamities as a means of punishing those who were disobedient to him, and also as a means of cleansing the earth of bad people, and also as a means of deciphering who the true believers are. Because again, faith will manifest itself in one of those forms when a hardship strikes. You can see who the true believers are from their reactions. Remember, oh, God knows what's in my heart. Oh, no. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whatever is in your heart will manifest through your actions. If you got faith and belief in your heart, you'd have patience. If you have belief in your heart, you'd still be just. If you got faith and belief in your heart, you'd still carry on with your obligations like those people are. They're still praying. They're still doing their 5 dailies. They haven't stopped. Those women are still wearing hijabs, still wearing abayas. They sleep in them because they never know when they got to go out, and they want to go out in good standing. Unlike you sisters that don't cover it all. All right. And also, guys, another thing too, this is what one of the young brothers asked me, and I want to talk about. Does Islam allow for Muslim leaders to form political alliances with non-Muslims? This is a question that somebody asked me, and guess what? It's answered right here in the book. Let's talk about it. After the Muslims and the Meccans signed the treaty, the Hudaybiyah treaty, one of the conditions of that treaty was that any group or tribe could ally themselves with either the Quraysh or the Muslims without fear of being punished for doing so. Well, after signing that treaty, the tribe of Bakr took advantage of this and attacked the tribe of Khuzai, who was a Muslim ally. The tribe of Bakr killed several members of the Khuzai and took their money. This was a clear violation of the treaty. The tribe of Khuzai, they then sent a delegation to the Prophet in Medina telling him they broke the treaty. Can you help us? And the Prophet ﷺ assured them that they would uphold their end of the treaty. And he sent a message to the Meccans demanding that they either pay the blood money for what they did to the tribe of Khuzai, or they return and that they return whatever wealth that they took. At first, the Meccans refused. So this forced the Prophet ﷺ to prepare for war against them. But when they found out the Prophet was getting ready to fight against them, they agreed to pay the blood money, and they gave the property back. So this story shows, this is the dalil that shows that yes, political alliances can be made with non-Muslims as long as they serve the common welfare of Muslims and they don't compromise our Islamic principles. But we have to keep in mind that when we do enter into an alliance, that we still have to do our distancing against them. So this is the question, because what was going on, I knew it was a political question. I don't deal with politics, and I've been instructed by my teacher, Sheikh Abu Atayib, Sheikh Morsi, don't indulge in politics on this website. And I'm not going to, but I could answer this because this is the hadith that we were going to talk about today. So, you know, if let's say a Muslim country wants to form an alliance with a non-Muslim country during these times, yes, they can do so. They can do so as long as it doesn't oppose any of our, as long as it'll be a benefit to the Muslims and it doesn't oppose any of our Bara things. Everybody understand that? And I hope that answers your question. I'm not going to go into no other detail about any particulars or any of that because we don't do politics here. Okay, I'm staying away from that garbage. All right. Okay, so to see how well you all understood this today, I got a quiz for you. Here's the quiz. First question. We talked about the story of Saud, how he was harsh to his mother, how he got kind of indignant and disrespectful. his response to her when she threatened to starve herself was kind of disrespectful. How does that differ from the story of Juraj? You guys remember the story of Juraj? Who was Juraj? Anybody remember the story of Juraj? My students. Who was Juraj? Y'all don't remember him?
Was he that one Muslim who he isolated himself in like it was like a place to, I guess, a mosque or something, and then his mother came to him. I think she was complaining about how he doesn't spend any time with her, but and then what was that person?
Okay, that's him. Yeah, Juraj, he was a monk. He was a monk, and he was making salat. He was praying one of his voluntary prayer, and his mother called him. But instead of him stopping his prayer to go see what his mother wanted, he kept on praying. And so she got mad and cursed him, because he didn't respond to her. Okay? So that's the story of Juraj in a nutshell. How does that differ from what happened with Saud? When his mother threatened to basically kill herself if he didn't denounce Islam, he in a very disrespectful way told her, you could have 10 souls and I could care less. That was considered disrespect. But why was it not considered disrespect? Well, it was too. But what was it about Juraj that was considered disrespect? Juraj decided to keep praying. What was disrespectful about that? Can anyone answer? I'm trying to do without giving the answer away. Juraj was yeah, go ahead.
The disrespectful part of Juraj was he was performing a voluntary prayer, so he could have responded to his mother because the voluntary prayer is not an obligation.
Exactly. MashaAllah. Good job, Yasmin. She remembers that hadith. Exactly. The case with Juraj, he was doing a voluntary prayer. Okay, when his mother called him, he should have stopped because the voluntary prayers are voluntary. It's different if he had been doing an obligatory prayer. Okay, but the voluntary prayer, he could have slammed out and went to see what his mother had to say and then went back. Okay, so that was the disrespect that Juraj showed his mother. Okay, does everybody understand that? Does everybody get that? You guys get it? Let me look on, I got these different programs, so let me look on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good job. Okay, let's look at the next question. What about this? A Muslim country has an alliance with a Christian country that if an outside country attacks either one of them, they will come to its aid. Is this permissible in Islam? Yes or no? Is it permissible for a Muslim country to make an agreement with a non-Muslim country that if any other country attacks them, the other will come to its aid? Is that permissible? What do you guys think?
I would say no, because what if another Muslim country, tries to attack and you're attacking your own brother?
Anybody else? She said no. Anybody thinks anything else?
I'll say yes, just because when the Prophet had made an alliance with the Jews until they broke their own treaty.
Exactly. That's what this whole last thing was about. Okay? Yeah, we have to look at the situation. In this case, if it were a Muslim country, you have to look at the situation. If the Muslim country is doing like some other country, taking it, say, for example, you're attacking because you want the oil. What does the law tell us to do in a case like that? Say that the Christian country is being attacked by a Muslim country, and that Muslim country is attacking because they want the oil there. What do you do in that case? You got this agreement that you will help them. What do you do, guys? Think. This is a question of fiqh to see how well y'all understand what I've been teaching y'all for the past year. You are a Muslim country. You have an alliance with a Christian country that if anybody attacks either one of us will come to the help, the aid. Well, it just so happens a Muslim country is attacking the Christian country. Why? Because they want the oil that's there. What do? This ain't a hard question to figure out. It's just going to require fiqh, thinking, understanding. Put your fiqh to use. What would that country do in that case, guys? And this is what you young brothers need to do. Instead of you young brothers getting all emotionally caught up in stuff, you young brothers need to start using your mind, your intelligence to figure things out. What would you do? Anybody got an answer? What about Facebook? My students are deaf and dumb. They don't know what to do. That's too hard for them. Anybody on Facebook? And this is the easiest question.
I say you still do the same thing because that's showing fairness and justice, and you haven't broke anything because the Muslims is trying to take something from them.
Okay, anybody else? What do you have to say on Facebook, YouTube? Nobody else got a better answer? Yeah, see, we have to think, as Muslims. This is what the Prophet meant. We don't have the intelligence. And this is not an insult to us. It's just a reality. We don't have the intelligence that the Christians have and the Jews have. They're smart. They can figure that question out but we can't. We have to, it's got to be easy for us. We're lazy. It's got to be true, false. It can't involve no thought, because if you asking me to think, I can't think. Because if I think, I got to think back to every hadith that I know. I got to think back to what la ilaha illallah means. And that's too hard for us. This is what the Prophet meant when he said we don't have the intelligence. We looking for an easy way. We don't want to use our brain to think. Think about it, guys. A Muslim country has an alliance with a non-Muslim country. That if anybody attacks either one, we're going to help each other. Well, the Christian country is being attacked by a Muslim country who wants his oil. This happened in real life. What do?
Then we got to go fight. We can't break the treaty.
And if we think everything is easy, we don't have the intelligence. I can get a Christian to come in here, they can answer that question so quick and easy, man. Boy. Okay, let me see what they got on YouTube. I'm going to see if anybody on YouTube. Okay, Brother Ahmad, you got any hadiths, any evidence, There's no easy way. Y'all got to pull out of your heart anything that you know and everything you know about this religion. There is no one sentence answer to any of my questions, and y'all know that. If your answer is one sentence, you know it's wrong. And if you ain't got no hadith to back it up, you know you don't know. This happened. This happened with Iraq and Kuwait. What happened? What happened? Kuwait. It was a Muslim country. They were declared war by Saddam Hussein. Iraq, another Muslim country. Kuwait went to their alliance with America for help. Okay? You guys can't figure this stuff out. Let me give the answer because I got other things to do. In Islam, all of our treaties are important. We can go into an alliance with a non-Muslim as long as it doesn't impose anything that's against Islam, and we still keep our Bara, our distancing. Let's say a Muslim country has an alliance with a Christian country, that if any outside country attacks you, we'll be there to aid you. And that's the key word. We say aid. Y'all don't know what the word aid means? What does the word aid mean? And that's what they put in these type of things. We will aid you. Aid means help. Help. And you, if anybody attacks me, you will help me. So let's say the Muslim country decides to attack the Christian country. Why? Because we want your oil. What should the Muslim country do? This is so easy. The first thing the Muslim country is going to do is try to talk to the other Muslim country to get them to stop. What does aid mean? To help them, to try to stop it. And what if the Muslim country doesn't stop? What do you do now? Who can fit? Y'all should be able to pick it up from here. What if the Muslim country says, I don't care about you helping them. I don't care about your alliance to them. I want that oil, and I'm going to still attack them. What should you do? Anybody? Y'all think of them hadiths that y'all supposed to be memorizing that y'all ain't. Facebook, YouTube, what answers you got? You talk to that country, Brother Ahmad, and they're going to steal. They're like Saddam Hussein. I don't care what you say. I want the oil. So what do? What does Allah say to do? What did the Prophet Muhammad teach us to do in situations like this? What did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to do to your Muslim brother? I'm trying to give y'all the hadith. What should you do to your Muslim brother in cases like this? Nobody knows the hadith.
I was thinking that.
We should advise him in this situation.
That is not the hadith. What does the Prophet say to do to your Muslim brother in this situation? What is the hadith? This is oppression. This is injustice. What did the Prophet say to do? If a Muslim
fight against him until he stops.
Y'all got to get it together. Subhanallah. This is why the world is at war. The Prophet Muhammad told us how to handle ourselves in all situations. The Prophet says, stop your brother if he is an oppressor and if he is being oppressed. In this case, the Muslim country is the oppressor, just like Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was the oppressor. The prophet said, if he refuses to stop, then you fight against him until he does stop. That's what Osama bin Laden didn't understand, because Osama bin Laden didn't understand the hadith, the sunnah. We're supposed to stop our brothers from oppressing another. And if he refuses, we fight him until he stops. That's why all those Arabic countries, Egypt, the Emirates, and all of them came to the aid of Kuwait. Fight your brother if he refuses. And they fought him. They weren't strong enough. It took the Kafir Christian country, America, to knock him out and tear down his statue. Okay. So there it is. You know, like I said, and the reason why I put this question up here is for the young brothers to understand. You brothers waste a lot of time with politics. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us how to handle ourselves in all situations, including situations like what's happening today. Okay? It's all about you learning your religion and learning it correctly from the correct people, instead of all this hatred, all this animosity, all this anger due to your ignorance of the religion. Okay, so I hope that answers the question that you young brothers gave me. And I gave you the dalil. You help your brother if he's an oppressor and if he's being oppressed. How do you help your Muslim brother who's an oppressor like Saddam Hussein was? You fight him until he stops. And if he don't stop, hello, look what happened. All right. Any questions or comments? Y'all better learn these hadiths. I'm teaching y'all hadiths. I got hadith classes here, and it's just going in y'all's ear and out the door. I don't know what's wrong with you guys that y'all can't remember none of this stuff. Okay, we have to remember this stuff I'm teaching y'all, guys. All right, I'm going to stop right here. I want to remind everybody at 9 o'clock we have another class at 9 o'clock. We have the hadith class at 9 o'clock. Make sure you guys are here for it. And please support this dawah effort, guys. We are desperately in need of donations. This is the first week of the month, and we still just got that $300 in that account. Please, guys, send in some money to help support this dawah effort so that we can pay our website expenses. So, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. See you guys at 9, inshallah.